Yo, this is WSoul13 bringing you Raid Shadow Legends, and today we're gonna be doing the extra legendary event, and also I wanted to show you some Vergis teams because one of the funniest channels on YouTube, Flash Gets, right? They're giving a raid like a raid starter link, and they're giving Vergis away actually. So if you start a new game right now and you use their link, you get a Vergis. And Vergis is actually one of the better carry champs we have in the game. And the reason why is that, one, he can carry you all the way up to Dragon's 20. So that's kind of like the minimum requirement for a good carry champ to start with in a game. They have to be able to carry you through Dragon's 20. So Vergis can do that. And then you want upside, right? So Vergis does have upside, which is that he can solo Scarab King. So first, let's talk about the extra legendary event, right? So the extra legendary event is a bonus legendary you get every time you summon a legendary from your sacred shards. So, you know, is this a good time to pull? A lot of people think that, this might be a good time to gamble, right? So if you pull one or two sacred shards, and if you happen to pull a legendary within those one or two sacred shards, right, then that means you're going to be golden because you're going to get two, you know? In my opinion, this is one to skip, right? I mean, sure, you could gamble the one or two. Like me, I have a lot right now, so I could probably gamble the 1 and 2, and I should be okay. But in general, the extra legendary for a sacred shard, I don't like it that much. I'd much rather save up if you're gonna have that many sacred shards anyway, because you know, to get the 2x sacreds, you need to pull 15. So if this is your first rodeo, right? This is your first time seeing this. You click on Mercy System, right? After 12 summons, so for sacreds, after 12 summons without legendary, you get a plus 2% every summon after that. And then in 2x, right, you go from 6% to 12%. So just to match 2x, you need 15 sacred shards already open without pulling a legendary, right? So if you've been keeping track, sure. I mean, and you're past 15 and you haven't pulled a legendary, yeah, I mean, I guess that's okay. But in general, I feel like it's better to save up for the guaranteed sacred shard legendaries, because this year they have been absolute freaking bangers, man. You had Sisha, Kyoku, Sisha for 12, that's really good. Kyoku for 15, I mean, you know, 15 is a little bit steep. Weethier for 15, also a little bit steep, but consider the quality champs you're getting. Weethier and Kyoku, they're some of the best legendaries you could pull in the game, you know. So, I feel like the direction right now for Sacred Shards is just to hold them. You only open them to get through a fusion event that you want to get through, right? Or you wait for a guaranteed legendary, right? So this is not necessarily a good time to pull for sacreds, right? So we're gonna go through some Vergis clips. So, all right, Ice Golem 20 is gonna be the exact same comp as Dragon's 20, except we're swapping out Armiger for Haikatun, I think. We're gonna put Haikatun in the Dragon's 20 comp. So, like, this is enough to get through the waves, but I understand if people will have a hard time getting through the waves earlier in the game. It's probably farmable at 16, though, right? So all these comps are farmable at 16. The Dragon's 21 is definitely farmable at 20, like. And then I think for spiders, we're at 13. So let's go through the comps real quick, right? So for Ice Golem, I probably would suggest to bring this back to 16, and you're going to be farming 16 with this comp until you get a more stable Ice Golem 20 farming team. That actually takes a while. to be honest, to get a stable Ice Golem 20 farming team that farms in less than 6 minutes. You know, this is kind of like over 6 minutes, a little bit long, and also will get you close to 100% win rate. I mean, that's a hard comp to come up with, like earlier in the game. This is a really good one because it can scale up to 20, so you can get through your auto 20 missions, right? I think this is probably the best comp you can do earlier in the game with Vergis. So with Vergis, you could do Dragons 20 really early in the game. And you have the Afterpee Trinity here, which is Haikatoon, Kale, War Maiden, Valerie, just to give you a little bit more protection. Haikatoon is most likely going to fall during the waves, which is fine, because your goal to get through the waves is just to keep Kale alive, right? If you keep Kale alive, there's a really good chance you're going to beat the boss at the end. And Vergis does a really good job of doing that, because after Haikatoon falls, Vergis becomes your negative affinity tank, right? So everybody's going to go after Vergis, and Vergis is extremely hard to kill one-on-one, you know? So I like this team a lot. I think this is a pretty decent farming team for Dragons 20 earlier in the game, right? And you could do this you can do this with Vergis as your third 6-star champ, right? So with Vergis as your third 6-star champ and a level 50 Valerie, level 50 Haikatoon, right? I think you can definitely get to Dragons 20, or at least farm Dragon 16, exact same comp. Stats. So stats is a big question for a lot of people. I do have the stats on my Reddit page. If you want to look at my Reddit page, it's u/wsoul13 on Reddit. Oh. Sorry. It's u/wsoul13 on Reddit, and I have my like new player guide there for 2022. The stats are pretty simple, actually. So you want at least 30k HP to start, right? And then you're going to scale that HP up to 40k as close as you can, or past 40k, with your speed staying flat at 171 and 179, right? So, and Haikatoon speed over 200. Vergis, actually, you can have him go over 200 speed as well, right? So carry champ and speed booster, you want them over 200 speed. And then for accuracy, you want the accuracy going to 200. It's 10 for every stage you're beating, so 160 is a pretty good number to start with. That lets you farm Dragon 16, that lets you farm Minnow 15, you know. But as you're scaling up to 20, the biggest hurdle is going to be accuracy, getting your accuracy up to over 200, right? So that would be the challenge. And we have perception gear now, you know, that helps with speed and accuracy, and it's accessible basically to everybody even earlier in the game. And then you also get speed sets and accuracy sets from farming dragons. It's not that hard to do, honestly, earlier in the game. You're going to be sacrificing crit rate is the bottom line early in the game. And then later on, once your stats are a lot better, you can start adding the crit rate gloves, so you can get to the 85% crit rate that you want for Kale, right? Because I think his A2 has a free 15%. Moving on, Fire Knight 16. Yes, this team is doable to farm Fire Knight 16. You might have to slink back to Fire Knight 13, but 16 is definitely doable. And the reason why it's doable is because you're gonna program Armiger to always use his A2 in the waves. So there's one wave, I think wave 1, where there's a Paragon, and you can get stuck in an infinite loop where Armiger keeps decreasing the turn meter, and you can't get the unkillable buff off the opposing team. And the way around that is to force Armiger to use the A2 on round 1 and round 2. And then round 3, you just set it to normal. That's perfectly fine. Round 3, though, once you hit the Fire Knight boss, so for round 2, you want to save War Maiden and Kale's 2-hit A2s. I think A2 for War Maiden is a 2-hitter, and then if she crits, you know, so that's kind of like, you know, here and there, but you get an extra hit. And then Kale, I think that A3 is a 3-hitter. So that allows you to bring the shields down early and try to try to use Armiger and Haikatun to bring down the turn meter enough so you can damage. And then hopefully by the time the Fire Knight slams again, right, or gets his first slam off, Vergis will have somebody on reflect damage. So it'll lower the number of kicks you need to do on the shield to break the shield, right? So not the perfect team. The best upgrade here would be to get rid of War Maiden and put Lordly Legionary in. And I think from there you should be able to scale up the Fire Knight 20. Because Vergis does have Ally Protect, which is really good for protecting your team, getting them through the waves, stuff like that. And finally, for Spiders 13, right? Kale, War Maiden, and Haikatun are enough to keep the Spiderlings under control, while Armiger keeps the Spider Queen from taking a turn, or at least limit the number of turns the Spider Queen is going to take, and Vergis will keep your team alive, right? So Spiders 13 is farmable. Spiders 11 is probably easier to farm with the same comp, right? Much less chances of you wiping. But overall, Vergis as your third 6-star champ can really get you far in the game, in my opinion. So for the people that ended up pulling Vergis through the promotional starts, promotional links that you get from content creators, you know, that's good for you, right? So hopefully you guys have fun with your Vergis. He can scale all the way up to Scarab King, hardest version of Scarab King. You know, he's like a really good solo boss killer for Doom Tower bosses later on in the game. Even earlier in the game, like normal Scarab King is kind of hard to beat for early gamers, and Vergis gives you that option to beat that boss earlier in the game. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up, and I'll see you all next time.